And look at Randy Orton slithering.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
KO! Here's the cover.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the M41D, the Chinese Tier 8 premium light tank that was added this week. Unsurprisingly, yes, I like the tank. It's very, very good. I'd probably say, and almost definitely say, it is better than the M41D Bulldog. And I'm happy with that. It's actually a tank that's worthwhile to get, in my opinion, if you do like scouts. It has been nerfed into the ground, and it's actually fairly enjoyable to play so far. Minus playing the same maps over and over again. But what do the stats look like on this little bad boy? It has a, I believe, 75 or 76 millimeter, one of the two, with 192 pen on the standard APCR, and then 227 on the premium APCR. So that's quite nice for a tier 8 light. 192 pen on the standard rounds is very good actually for a tier 8 light tank compared to most. I think like the LTTB has 170, I believe, and then 215 or so on its APCR. So definitely above average there right off the bat. And then also you get APCR as premium ammo, which is much, much better for light tanks than heat. I really dislike having heat rounds in light tanks because if you're doing the circle of death round like a heavy tank or TD or something like that, if you're firing heat, there's much more chance of it getting absorbed by tracks and spaced armor in the side of tanks that you're circling around. So that's why I don't like firing heat out of like the 90mm Bulldog. It just tends to get eaten and vanish into oblivion basically. So definitely like the fact that it has the premium APCR, not heat. The reload on this thing is 4.3 seconds with the base reload, so you can really get that down to about 3.1 seconds or so, I found, and you can make that a little bit faster when you activate the food. There we go. English. It's hard, I know. And that makes a DPM just around 2300 base, 2372, which is very, very good for a tier 8 light. Very, very good. So, and you don't even sacrifice the gun handling. The gun handling is quite nice on this thing too. 0.33 for a light tank is, again, very good. And a 1.5 second aim time. So again, the snapshotting ability of this tank is pretty damn good. Just to be up front with it, it's very, very good at RBRTing and just usually hitting the shot. And you see that aim time is instant almost. I mean, it's so nice. Mobility does get a little bit of a decrease because of the gun handling stats, but I'm okay with that. The mobility is still 65 kph in a straight line, and it gets up to that no problem. Honestly, it's not that big of a difference I find with the normal Bulldog's playstyle. Normal Bulldog is faster. It has like, I think, 72 kph as its top speed, if I recall correctly. But I really don't notice that much of a difference in terms of how I play either tank. And this thing definitely feels even slightly more agile than the M4190s or the Holland Hound, either one of those tanks. I don't know if that's actually true, but this thing just feels like it's a little nippier and gets around a little bit better than those. And the gun handling is much, much better, as that was just disgusting right there. Hitting that SU-101 it was probably like 400 meters or so. And yeah, it's just absolutely filth in terms of that. And yeah, it's overall very solid tank. If you're looking for a tier 8 light tank, and especially if you need a Chinese, I guess, crew trainer, this is definitely a good one to look at. And at least if you just enjoy scouts as much as I do, or you're looking at a good tank to get into scouting, premium wise, I guess, a little higher tier. If you've played some of the lower tier scouts, which I highly recommend first before diving into tier 8, And plus light tanks, this is definitely a really, really good one. You're not going to struggle in it very, very often. Everything about it is good. Alpha damage is a little low. There's definitely some higher alpha light tanks at tier 8, but they all have pretty kind of derpy gun handling comparatively. So you will see that noticeable difference there. And yeah, it's just a solid vehicle. I usually equip it, or it's set up with my usual equipment loadout of optics, rammer, and the stabilizers. That's just what works for me the best. And honestly, that's what I equip on almost all my lights. You could use camo. You could use vents. I just choose not to. I'm just generally running around the map a little bit more. So it's just, I don't know. Neither of those is really preferred for me, but you can kind of work with it on your own basis. That's what I would say. Always recommend that. What works for you. Don't listen to the random guy on YouTube all the time just because, yeah. Figure out what works for you and use this video as, I guess, as a basis and go from there. As is you should for any video, honestly. So, wrap that game up on proc, first class, scout medal, 1200 damage, 5800 assisted, and proving it's a pretty good active scout. Again, it is a Bulldog, so it is quite fat for a light tank, so you will get hit quite easily compared to something like a Vanguard, obviously, especially with the accuracy changes that you see now in the game. So don't be surprised if you get shot quite easily when you're prowling those ridge lines or anything like that on proc. It can definitely have an issue there in terms of taking hits, and it also is a Bulldog, and if you have ever played the Tech Tree Bulldog, you know that it can get set on fire and ammo racked quite easily. Same thing goes for this, so be aware of that, especially getting shot in the engine, which is in the back. Just be aware that it is pretty much lined with gasoline, and yeah, you could probably call this thing like the Chinese firecracker or something, because it could get lit up like that, honestly. So, great little tank. And now we're on a tier 10 game, actually, on another tier 10 game, shockingly, on Arctic Region, a map that is quite good, but a lot of people now, I've talked about this in Platoons and on streams lately, you have a lot of people that do what that light tank just did, and there's also going to be an M40 patent, and they just drive right down the middle of that path. It does really nothing, honestly. Where the M48 is right now in that little ditch, he's basically stuck there. I mean, he's going to get out of that spot at a certain point, but he's not going to do, like, basically any damage in that position. And all he's doing is just making this position null and void for us, essentially, which I guess is doing something, but there's probably much, much better places to go in a tank like that. So, right now, we're just trying to do the classic kind of scout thing I'd like to do on Arctic Region, which is kind of patrolling this ridgeline as long as I can, as long as I don't get a lot of pressure. Occasionally, you will get people that will just charge all the way in from their spawn, mostly light tanks or like batch at 25s at tier 10. And then you kind of have to make a judgment call saying, okay, that guy is going to YOLO right over. I got to get out of here because otherwise I'm a dead man. So, at this point, we're just kind of taking some pot shots. There's no arty, so we don't have to worry about getting nuked from orbit at this point. And we can kind of just chill and plunk out damage as needed. So, we pick up the spot on the 5120 here. This thing also has 400 meters view range, which I definitely have noticed playing it. You will for sure outspot tanks very easily at tier 8 with this thing. The camera rating isn't out of this world. Again, it's a big fat light tank. It's not a Vanguard. It's not even HMH58. It's chunky. It's American. Well, it's American. I'm kidding. Making fun of myself, I guess. So, well, I say it's an active scout because it's definitely not a passive scout. It can do kind of both. I would say it's more leaning towards the active in terms of that. It's kind of a support tank. It almost plays like a medium-ish with how big it is in the gun, how good the gun is on it, in fact, as we do put one into the Earthshaker there, and taking a mental note of where that guy's at, because we're going to say hello to him later a couple times, because he's going to keep poking and keep poking and keep poking, which is not a great idea if you're playing to just keep poking the same spot. At this point, I am poking kind of two similar spots, but at least we're trying to mix it up a little bit here, rotating between both. And at this point, we are actually losing this game. It's just the fact of it. Our team has not really pushed the left side, and it's not really my job at this point to push a flank, because unfortunately I'm bottom tier in a light tank, and Sins is in a tier 8 medium. So unfortunately that's just not going to be the case. I'm not going to fight a Super Conqueror one-on-one. I know, surprising. I know. It's shocking news there. So we do see that guy coming, and you will notice a slight bug here from Tuesday's update, and I hope this has been fixed or is fixed soon, that you can actually see in here. I'm looking at it, I'm very confused, of you can see your teammates' emblems of their tank even after they die. So it's a little bit of a bug. And here Sins tracks the Earthshaker, calls it out, and I luckily get one shot while he spotted, and now I'm just going to keep my reticle here and just keep firing and firing and firing and killing the Earthshaker. Let's see, excellent gun handling. I have complete confidence in the gun handling here, unlike something like the Barask, which is an auto-later, so you couldn't do that. You could have put 2 shots into him, but you couldn't keep him auto-tracked, probably, or perma-tracked. But I have complete confidence in the gun handling to keep hitting that Earthshaker. Even though he's blind, I can't, or hitting him blind, I can't actually see him, and keeping him tracked all the way at that distance, even though I know he's unspotted. So just having that confidence in the gun is so important. You can take some shots that otherwise you'd be like, I don't really want to risk that, which is even a little bit rare nowadays, as like I said, all the gun handling on most tanks is pretty damn good after all the crew changes and everything. So gun handling means a little less, and at this point, yeah, it's okay. But this thing, it's nice to even have that second peace of mind to go, okay, I'm pretty confident here. He says why missing a couple shots on the Batch Hat 12T, and at this point, I'm just going to go in on this guy. I know the Super Conqueror is pushing to my right, probably. We're coming in soon. We have to get rid of guys quickly if we even have a chance of winning this game. And we're being very aggressive here. We luckily actually tracked the 12T on our first shot, so that keeps him in place, and we're able to finish him off there by locking him down and taking out one of their scouts that's remaining. So very good scenario there for us. Put one into the Tiger Shark. Luckily finish off the 5120. Again, the snapshotting ability of this tank is so good, and you kind of see it there. Activate the food, put another one into the Super Conqueror. He's obviously our biggest threat. If he had gone up and around, he probably would have had a better time, as I've run into rocks. Been watching Petty's videos, you can tell. He probably would have had a better time instead of going to the ditch. However, this is going to be kind of an issue at this point. We're keeping the standard rounds loaded. Unfortunately, that means Sims gets taken out. I take a shot from a medium, but we're able to pen that last shot and take out the Super Conqueror before he's able to reload and dump another shell into us, which means we get to keep our health, which is oh so important, because that means we're still likely able to take a shot from most of the tanks that are left. I think the M41 120 is left in this game, as well as a Borsig and a couple of T28s. I think that's what's left. Yeah, so we're able to actually take a shot from any of those guys. And at this point, I know you can't see what's left. We have a couple TDs that are alive still. I know this glitch is annoying. It's kind of a headache to make sense of. But at this point, I'm thinking, okay, most of their TDs are probably sat in the base. Their M48 was down in the middle because he ran out of that initial position and somehow got away. Not sure how, but he got away. But I'm going to use the fairly good mobility of the M41D to get across here, we do get spotted by the 48-120. A tank you'll probably see videos of in the future. I haven't played it much, but it will come. And right now we're just trying to put some shots into this Jaeger. We just got to hit the upper superstructure here, but then we spot the T-28, and he's much, much closer, and we're able to get his side. Much easier to pen as well. We switch back to the standard rounds. We already set him on fire once. We aim for the fuel tanks again. Get that nice fire once again. Utilizing that tank knowledge a little bit, having a general idea of where they are. And we're able to dump several more into this Jaeger, and he's taken out by one of our TDs before we can finish him. So, down to the 48 and the T-28 and the Borsig. That's all that's remaining. I was thinking about going through the upper plate, but to take the easier shot into the cupola. Again, relying on that pretty damn good accuracy and gun handling on this M48 or M41D. Sorry. Anyways, again, .33 base accuracy means you're going to get this accuracy probably down into the .2s. Along with the good aim time, you can make some shots that most light tanks probably can't. So that's very, very nice feature. We put one into the M41D. We tried to snapshot it, but the Borsig actually, I think, dumps the shot into us. I don't think the M48 was looking at us next. We're obviously not going to cross here because we're still spotted. And we just want to keep these guys down in the bowl. I know my TDs are going to be coming over this way, so if I can just keep these guys locked down into this bowl at this time, that's perfect. They're going to be in a very bad position here. Spot up the Borsig, make sure they don't get any time to be unspotted, and keep them always on the minimap as the M48 is finally shut down. And I don't want to die here, so I don't want to just pop out in that same spot. I just knocked over telephone pole, and the Borsig is looking the other way, and he's going to just absolutely clipped out by the waffle, and that game is wrapped up. So an excellent game, +2 matchmaking in the M41D, doing just over 5k damage because of the blind shots into the air shaker earlier. So yeah, 5100 damage, 6 kills, ace tanker, and just shot of 2400 base. So again, excellent tank, really, really fun to play. I'm looking forward to playing it some more, which is not something I'd say about the other Bulldogs because they're good, but they definitely have their problems. And this is one of the better premium tanks I've seen released in a little bit. So definitely enjoying it so far. If you like lights, pick it up. If not, it's still a really good tank. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you next time. See ya. Potatoes.